What's good, y'all? This your boy, Vacation Time with Ryan. Today's video is going to be straightforward. Booking your trip to the Dominican Republic. Now, if you're going to go to Colombia or Costa Rica or Panama or wherever, Jamaica, insert that country into a lot of these things I'm going to say. I'm going to talk about the Dominican Republic just to give you guys something you can reference, since I've been through this process so much. Now, this video is most likely gonna be for people who just started traveling, just got introduced into traveling, maybe first, second, or third trip, or maybe you just want a reminder of the process of booking a trip to the Dominican Republic, all right? So just make sure you stay tuned to the end. I'm gonna cover piece by piece what I would do if I was booking my first or second trip, or how I typically prepare for a trip to the Dominican Republic or Colombia or etc., Brazil, whatever, wherever, Panama, wherever. All right, the very first thing you want to do is know when you're going, know when you want to go. So let's say, for example, we're in August, and let's say you wanted to go for October, like for example, for my event in October, shameless plug, let's say you wanted to go. First thing you would want to know is your dates. How long you're going to be there, when you're going, so you can have an idea how we're going to get these bookings down, all right? So assuming you have your passport, let's say you go through the process, you got your passport, now it's time, you want to take your first trip, you want to start preparing, you want to know where to start to prepare this trip, right? So let's say you look into October and you say, oh, Ryan's event is on the 11th. So maybe I should arrive at least by the 9th, because if I'm going to go to an event that's on the 11th, I should get there at least 2 days ahead, right? So I can unwind, scope out the city, and then we'll get to that event. You want to go to DR from the 9th. So we're going to say October 9th. Or maybe you want to go on the 8th, or whatever your date is. Let's say you want to go on the 8th. I believe that's a Thursday. And let's say you want to come back on the 17th. I believe that's like a Saturday, right? Something like that, like 10 days. So, you already have those days free, or you're planning to free up those days for this trip. All right. So how you would book it, this is how I would book it. You have the dates. That's the first thing, knowing the dates. I typically go straight to Google and I pull up a private window because I don't know if it's all in my head. There were a lot of rumors long time ago that they try to, your computer tries to know you and they know what you're looking for. So the more you keep searching flights and dates and this and that, you might search something today and go back tomorrow and the price is up, because they know that you're looking to buy a flight around this time. So I use a private window so it doesn't like save the search, and like, I don't know, it could be all in my head, but in my mind I get the best price that way. So I do private window, I go to Google, flights from your nearest airport, the airport that you want to use. So let's say I said flights from Miami to Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. Flights from MIA to SDQ. That's going to be on the 8th. I say I'm going to go on the 8th, and I'm coming back on the 17th, right? So I'll plug that in Google. Then a list of flights will come up. Now, if you live in a place where that does straight flights nonstop, then I would highlight nonstop flights only. Because even if you live somewhere like Georgia that does straight flights, for example, it might try to get you to stop somewhere, and you might not want to stop nowhere and then have to go do this overlay or layover, whatever. I like straight shot flights. Now, if you live like way out west or something, you're likely probably going to stop in Florida or in Georgia or Texas or something like that, or New York. So you might not be able to avoid a stop, a layover, if you live really far out. But if you live close to the Dominican Republic, which would be like Florida, Georgia, Texas, like somewhere down south, or somewhere that does straight shot flights there, then highlight non-stop flights. I don't know, I love non-stop flights. Even when I went all the way to Brazil, 9-hour whatever flight, non-stop. Give me non-stop, let's bang it out. Now if you're going to Africa, that's a different story. All right, so I see the dates I like, the price I like, the time I like. If I got the whole day off, I took that whole day free, let's say Thursday for example, I want the earliest flight. So 7 a.m., 10 a.m., 9 a.m., whatever the earliest one. That's not too early. That's not going to inconvenience my sleep, because sleep is important too. Because when you get to a new country or you get to your vacation destination, you're going to be excited. You might want to get straight to drinking margaritas, mimosas, whatever your drink of choice is, I don't know. But you might want to get straight into enjoying yourself. So if you wake up like 3 a.m. for your flight, you're going to be kind of like burnt out. But then you're not, I don't know if you're anything like me, you're going to get to your destination and not really be able to sleep. Now you're walking around like a zombie trying to have fun, running off of barely any sleep. All right. So I would advise, give yourself enough time to get some sleep, but then again, do it as early as you can so you don't bang out a whole day just traveling, or you don't land too late where you can't do nothing but go to have dinner and go to bed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Give yourself a day. All right, cool. So we got the flights. All right, we could book them. If you're really truly like booking like your first or second flight or something like that, I'll go through it really fast. You're gonna ask you your basic information, your first name, last name, maybe even your middle name, your passport, have your passport ready, your passport information, all of that basic information about yourself. If you're a citizen or if you're a permanent resident, all that good stuff, right? So you're gonna fill out all that information. You should have all that ready. All right, then you're gonna make the payment. Typically, if you're using the Google flight system, it's gonna take you to the airline's website. You click on the airline's website, and that's how you're gonna fill out all your stuff. All right, boom, boom, boom. Now you book your flights. You got your confirmation. You should get a confirmation email. I usually take a screenshot of the confirmation email with the confirmation number on it. If you want, you could download the airline's app. You don't necessarily have to, but it makes things smoother because you could pull up your itinerary through the airline app, and then you're gonna show them that at the airport. Or you can just take a screenshot. That's typically all you need is the flight's confirmation number. They have your name, your last name, your passport information in the system already. So when you do get to the airport, you can literally give them your passport. They'll look you up. One thing you're gonna wanna decide, are you gonna bring a big luggage and check in a luggage? Depending on how long you're gonna stay there and how much stuff you wanna bring. I gotten to a point where I'm comfortable traveling with 2 carry-on bags, one a book bag, and then a small bag in my hand. I like to have my bags with me on the airplane. That's just how I rock. So when I get off the airplane, 97% of the people are going to wait for their luggage at baggage claim. I am going straight past everybody, skipping the line and going straight through because I don't have to wait for my luggage because I have my backpack and I have another bag that's considered carry-on, right? So I just go straight through. That's me. That's a habit I developed over the experience of traveling. That's how I like to travel. I don't like long lines. That's just my thing. You might be a little bit more patient. You might want to bring 6 different pairs of shoes to go with the different fits and the this and the that. So you might have a luggage. So if you do have luggage when you get to the airport, then yeah, you're going to be going to baggage claim. So I'm not trying to skip past any steps. While you're going through your booking your flight and everything, it's also going to ask you, depending on what ticket you bought, where you, like, if you want to upgrade your seats or where you want to sit, depending on the airline. Some airlines, they'll charge you to select the seat, and sometimes it'll be like you'll take the free route to save money, where they'll do a random seat selection for you. Now, let me tell you, if you're new to flying, if you're a bigger person, if you're taller, if you're wider, you got broad shoulders, you weigh a little more, you're gonna want an aisle seat. When I first, I used to think it was cute, pause, to have a window seat. No siree, Bob. If you're a bigger guy, if you're tall, you're gonna want an aisle seat, because you can stretch your legs different. And if you gotta get up to stretch your legs, you the first one out, you on the edge, you more comfortable. And nobody to the right side of you or the left side, depending on what side you want. There's nobody to one side of you. You can kind of have a little airspace right there. Aisle seats if you're bigger. All right. I lost a bunch of weight, so I didn't even know if I got to do aisle seats anymore. I don't know. I'm gonna find out. This will be my first time flying in a long time. Now, if you're really big, you're gonna have to invest in first class or the front of the plane seats. The very first front of the plane aisle seat, if you're really big, best position for you, because now you got the aisle seat and you got a bigger seat. It's worth the investment. Some airlines are going to charge you $100 for that seat. It's worth it, especially if you got a flight that's more than 4 hours. That flight going to be a breeze if you got the best seat. If you got a seat that's not very comfortable and you're bigger, it's going to be a long flight for you. Trust me, I've been through it. When I was 300 plus pounds in the past, I've been through it. It's not very comfortable. All right. I learned the hard way, and then since that day, I've been getting first class every time. Every time I'm in the front of the plane, whatever, big seat, big front seat, whatever they want to call it, business class, whatever it is, I'll pay the extra. I don't think I need to do that anymore, but that's what I did. I did that for years. So let's assume you don't care, and you're like, nah, whatever, I'll sit in the middle, I don't care. Save money is your priority. All right, let them pick your seat. All right, and then you go forward, and that's it. So you got your flights locked in, and you got your dates locked in. You know your dates you're going. You're making sure you're free. If you're at work, you'll make sure you get those days approved from work before you buy your flights, right? Make sure you get those days off. So let's assume, boom, you got the days off, you got your flights. Now what's next, right? You're a little nervous about traveling, maybe. You want to know what's next. Now, depending on where you're going, different countries have different rules. Dominican Republic, there's a form that you fill out before you get to the airport, or you can do it in the airport. It takes 5 minutes. So maybe I'll show you a little clip on here of that form, so you can see an example of it. And if you need the form, shoot me a message. I'll send it to you, or if I can remember, I'll link it in the video. That's if you're going to DR. That's a form that they ask you for. The airline is going to ask you for. It's just like a little verification. And then they want to make sure you have a returning flight. So some people like to buy a one-way flight and then get the return flight later. But when you get to the airport, make sure you have your returning flight already, because they're going to ask you for it. All right, that's just the basics for everyone that needs it. I know there's a lot of vet travelers out there, but everyone has to start somewhere, all right? So bear with me. So now to the fun stuff. Wherever you're going, you're going to want to do a little research. You're going to want to know how to stay safe in these places. Different countries and cities and towns have different rules and different things that they go by. So you're going to want to watch some YouTube videos and watch different type of content creators. Watch creators that show you the lay of the land. So maybe a walkthrough content creator that walks through, so you can literally just see a first person view of being in town, you know what I'm saying? So watch one of those. Then maybe watch a creator that interacts with people. All right, so now you getting the vibe of the town. Then you gotta ask yourself, what type of trip are you trying to have? Are you going there to explore the country's history, the city's history? Are you going to do hiking? Do you want to do a tour where you get a tour guide and shows you around and shows you the best parts of the city and explains the history and all of that to you? Is that what you're into? Or do you just want to have some fun? Do you want to party? Do you want to just get drinks? Do you want to be on a resort? Do you want to, nah, you don't want to be on a resort. Do you want to be in the towns? You want to check out the different restaurants, the different foods, the different nightclubs. Like, what, you got to know what type of traveler you are, or what type of traveler you're going to be for that trip. That's very important, because that's going to determine how you research this trip and what you look at. So let's say you know what you want to do on that trip. You're going to want to find a YouTuber that kind of travels the way you imagine yourself traveling, right? So let's say you're going to Santo Domingo, or let's say you're going to Punta Cana or Sosúa, whatever it is. Type in that city and then look for a YouTuber that you feel like is your type of traveler, and watch a couple of their videos and see what they got going on, what they're doing. And if you like it, then you're like, yeah, I like this. This is how I want to travel. My microphone wasn't on, so I hope you guys heard me for the first half of the video. I apologize. So if you're anything like me, I'm like a hybrid traveler. I enjoy a little bit of everything. I enjoy doing tours. I enjoy exploring where I'm at. I want to see the best things the country has to offer. Like for example, when I went to Brazil, had to see the Christ statue, the Christ the Redeemer statue. Did the favela tour where they took us through the favela to see how the man them living in the favelas and all of that. We did yacht parties. We did like basically tourist vibe during the day, and then turn up vibe in the night. That was my vibe in Brazil. If you're anything like me, you can check some of my travel vlog videos. You gotta have to scroll down because, or no, go to my playlist that you could easily find my travel vlogs, because my recent videos have been a lot of talking. But go through the playlist, check some of my travel vlogs if that's what you're into. If not, find another creator that has your travel style. Safety is always first. So let's say you're going to Santo Domingo. You're going to want to make sure when it's time to look for the Airbnb, right? When you're looking for your Airbnb, you want to make sure you find one that has a security at the front. So you're going to look for your Airbnbs. You type in the city. Let's say you're going to Santo Domingo. Santo Domingo is big, So let's say you said Piantini or Santo Domingo Este or something like that. You type in the city. You look at the room. You say, oh, it looks nice. You look at the rating. Always check the rating, because if there's one thing, who gonna keep it real is the people. The people gonna talk. The people gonna talk. Because you might see a room that look decent, and then the people say, oh, the AC kept going out, the light kept going out. I didn't really enjoy it for that reason. So you want to know what's going on in that Airbnb. Read a couple of those reviews. If that person is 4 to 5 star, typically there's no issues. I always use a filter when I look for Airbnbs, because I put entire place, because you might see a place and it's just a room being rented out. Very rare, but it happens. You want the entire place to yourself. You don't want to be someone in the next room, or you wake up someone in the kitchen. You want the entire place to yourself. So make sure you put entire place when you're searching for a place, right? Find the area, something that you imagine you like. Do your little research. Make sure there's a security at the front. What you want to do first quarter when you get there, tip the security. That guy is going to go, he's going to go out on a limb for you. He's going to make sure he looks after you. If you order Uber Eats, he's going to bring it up to you. He's going to treat you like a king, because he knows like, oh, this is a tipper. So, and give a decent tip, like I'd say anywhere from $5 to $20. If you're really generous, 20. If you want to be in between somewhere, $10, or you just want to throw a little something, $5. All right, that's how I would tip security. If you want to go real ham, you could tip the concierge, the front desk staff. You can do that too, right? So that's that. All right, so you got your Airbnb, you got your flights, you got everything. You filled out the form I told you about, everything cool. Now all is left is think about what you want to do on your trip for the fun stuff. Like I said, watch different YouTubers. You can go as far. If you really want everything to just be super smooth and easy, where you feel like you're being walked, someone holding your hand through it, reach out to the YouTuber, send an email, send a message, and maybe try to get as much as information as you can off to that person, or book a consultation. It'll be worth it. That person will walk you straight through your trip. All right. If not, take notes while you're watching these YouTube videos. Write a list. Write yourself a list of places you want to see while you're there. List the restaurants for food. It might sound basic. You might think like, nah, I'm gonna just pull up and then Google whatever is nearby. It sounds cool, but in the moment, you might be so overwhelmed with all the options and the fun stuff. And next thing you know, you're spending 20 minutes on food, trying to find food, when you could have had a list of restaurants, a list of stuff, and bang, bang, bang. The more organized you are, the more trip you have, and the more fun you have on your trip. Organize all the stuff you can do at home before you get there. Do it so your trip runs smooth and you're not spending your trip doing stuff like Google searching and all that. Have everything ready to go. So you got your checklist of things you want to do. Oh, I want to go to this museum. I want to go to that water park and that water slide. I want to do jet skiing here and this and that. You saw some videos. Oh, I seen this YouTuber doing that. I want to do that. So now you got your list. So now your trip is just going back to back. Boom, boom, boom. Fun, fun, fun. Oh, I want to go to this club, that club. Boom, boom, boom. I want to meet this person. I seen this person and that do a video. That person look cool. I want to meet them. Some of these people, they'll drop their information in the videos and you could link up with them. They could be your tour guide, or you might just have a friend. Boom, boom, boom. Trip going great, right? That's typically how I go, man. International flights, they recommend you get to the airport 3 hours before your flights. If you're a ninjas like to get there an hour before their flight. I don't do that. I'd rather be bored in the airport early than to trying to be there right at the right time. And then next thing you know, there's a car accident slowing up traffic. Something happens. You forgot your passport. Now, these are things that probably won't happen, but if they do, you're going to be happy you gave yourself some cushion and you got to the airport early. I notice a lot of people don't do it like I do. I get there 3 hours. 2.5 hours. I cut it to 2.5 hours. I used to get there 3 hours early. Now I do 2.5 hours before the flight. Checking online saves you time. Depending on your situation, if you got a check bag, you're probably just gonna have to go up there. I check in online, and I got carry-on bags, so I don't have to check my luggage. Most people check luggage, so you're gonna have to go to the airline in the line, and they'll tell you where to go. But if not, if you just walking with a book bag like me and another little bag, you could go straight up to where they check your passport and straight up to security, straight up to TSA. Make sure you don't have any weapons and all that on you. Do I need to say that? And then go through TSA, man. If you got friends where you're going to visit, stop at a little airport shop, grab them a little gift. It goes a long way. A little keychain, wherever you're from, a little keychain from the city you're from, whatever. Some candy, something goes a long way, especially if you're going to a place like Dominican Republic. They love like little gifts like that. It means something. So grab a little something if you're going to meet up with some locals. Now, as far as planning out a trip, let's say if you were going to the Dominican Republic, this is how I would do it. Now, I believe I didn't leave anything out. This is just off the top of my head on how I plan and prepare for a trip. So just to go over everything really fast, just in case anything else pops up in my head. You got your flights, you book that, you make sure that's cool. Make sure you have the form that you're filling out. Make sure you choose your seat to be comfortable. Your dates is good. You got the time off work if you're working, or if you're free, you got the time free. Plan what you're going to do bit by bit. Make sure you tip your security. Make sure you got the Airbnb or hotel with a good rating, somewhere comfortable, in a good location, close to a lot of the things you want to do, close to all the action. You don't want to try to be cheap and then go off too far off. Don't just book anywhere in the city. Try to be close, a place that looks safe, because sometimes really cheap places are not as safe, right? So typically, pay a little bit more for your safety is always the best way to go. Oh, actually, see, this is why I do this. Super, 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 super important. Very important. One of the most important things I'm going to say, make sure you travel with enough money. However much money you think you need, times that by 3. I'm not exaggerating. Exit by 3. Does that mean you're going to spend all of that money? No. That means have it. You don't never want to be in another country stranded or running out of money or on your last 200. Don't do that. Because sometimes when you're away from home in another country, there's a situation you could wound up in that cost money. Whether it was a car accident, a little fender bender, most likely you're not going to be driving. I wouldn't be driving on my first or second or third trip. So you're going to be, oh yeah, transportation, Uber, take Uber. If you're going to like Dominican Republic or Colombia, Uber is fine. Uber works well. Uber is safe and it's cheap. Take Uber, right? Some countries don't have Uber, then you don't have a choice but to take taxi. That's why it's good to do your research. But if it's somewhere like DR Colombia, Panama, take Uber, all right? So that's how you're going to get around from the airport. You can call a Uber straight to your Airbnb or hotel or whatever it is. And, obviously, just keep your head on the swivel. Use your basic common sense street smarts. But Uber. Now, about the budget. If you're going to go somewhere like DR, Colombia, I would recommend budget to have like $250 a day. Now, does that mean you're going to spend $250? No. You might spend $20 in a day. You might spend $50. You might spend $70. All depends on you and what you plan on doing. There are tours alone that could run you $100. So, not saying you're going to do that. I'm just saying have it. Don't save up exactly $2,000 because you estimated your trip's gonna cost $2,000, and it might be $2,000 or less. But have emergency money in these other countries. You're really supposed to have travel insurance for real, just in case something really goes wrong. But most people kind of just don't do it. To be safe, yeah, you should have travel insurance. But more important than anything, make sure however much you planning to spend, have 3 times that somewhere, a credit card, a savings account, something, in case of emergencies. You're going to a country where you know nobody, no family, no friends, you didn't make no connections with nobody in that city that you're going to. I would try to have a friend, maybe a YouTuber, maybe someone you met through online somewhere. Don't trust everyone you meet now, but I would try to just know 1 or 2 people in the town just in case, you're in the town and you might want someone to help show you around, or you might have a question that someone could easily answer that could save you a lot of money, because you're somewhere that you don't know. People are going to try to do what we call gringo tax, which is because you're a foreigner and you don't know how things go in the town, I'm going to try to charge you more. Yeah, so, you don't want to be overcharged for stuff. Now, some stuff, it might just come with the cost of travel. Like, for example, you're going to the beach chairs are normally $10 a pop, and they're charging you $20. If you want to fight that, that's on you. You might just charge that to the game. You having fun. It's not a big deal. You got money, whatever. Me personally, if I know what the price of something costs, I typically like to have a local with me. That's just my level of traveling or what I do. But even if I was by myself and I know how much something costs, I might try to use my Spanish to get me out of being overcharged, which sometimes won't work. They're going to know, okay, he's a gringo, let's tax him. If it's not dramatic, like super overpriced, I might just take the L depending how I'm feeling, depending on how much, over the price it is. Like one time I got a haircut in Santo Domingo. It was like $10 haircut. And people were in the comments like, oh, you paid way too much. That should have been like 50 cents. I'm like, stop it. I literally pay $55 for my haircuts where I live. $10 haircut's not going to hurt me. I will be A-okay. So something like that, you're not tripping, You're in the town, you're on vacation, you don't care, do your thing. If you penny pinching like that, hey, you could try to debate it if you want. I don't know. That's on you. If you're in a place where the primary language is not English, you know, some people, you like to have a translator with you. You don't have to, but some people like that. Depending on how much English is spoken in the towns, if it's real touristic, there's always going to be tour guides and people that speak English. It's up to you and your comfort level. Me, I thank goodness I speak enough Spanish. I can move around in Spanish-speaking countries. But let's say I was in Brazil, right? They speak Portuguese. I don't speak Portuguese. I still move around by myself, and I'm fine because just experience in traveling just to me kind of supersedes the whole I don't speak Portuguese thing. And plus, I like to study the language wherever I'm going. So I'm going to have the basics. Hi, how you doing? Where's the bathroom? The basic stuff. I'll have that down pat. What's your name? How you doing today? Like stuff like that. Study. If you're going to a Spanish-speaking country, study as much as Spanish as you can before you get there. All right, so simple rules, simple stuff. If you're a beginner traveler, you know, you'll be all right. Don't be afraid to travel alone. Let me tell you something. If you're waiting on your friends to travel with you, you could be waiting forever. Get out there by yourself. It's going to be all right. The more you prepare, the smoother and easier and enjoyable your trip is going to be. If I can help in any way, let me know. I hope this video was helpful to someone out there, all right? So until next time, this is Vacation Time with Ryan. I just want to help you guys have smoother vacations. Travel vlogs, new ones are coming soon. You can check out my old ones. Just go to my playlist. All right, I'm out. Peace.